Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel today for something a little bit different. Today we're going to be taking a look at the BenQ EX3203R monitor, supplied to me by BenQ. Massive thank you to them guys over there for sending me this monitor to take a look at, and also thank you to all my subscribers for subscribing to the channel, watching my content to get me to the point where I'm able to do content like this and actually get monitors to review and stuff like that. Massive thank you to everyone, because I was actually in a position where I actually was looking at a monitor to upgrade my system. People would have known about it when I've talking on stream. I was actually talking about it, because before this I used just a normal 42-inch monitor. In the top right hand corner of the screen you can just about see it there. That's now the TV screen that we use for watching films and stuff with the missus. But the second screen at the moment that I use is just a very old TV. You can see it there on the side. I'm going to probably upgrade that soon and possibly upgrade it to another one of the screens that I've got in front of me, as you can see there on with GT Sport displayed on the screen at the moment. Now this monitor is pretty much everything that I would want it to be. I'm going to go through all the features and talk about this monitor. It's mainly aimed at sim racers out there. So for anyone into sim racing, this monitor is aimed quite basically at you. For myself, this is ideal. I mainly play iRacing, GT Sport, Assetto Corsa, games like this. So I'm going to try and give you my opinion on why this monitor is going to be good for you. I've actually been using this monitor now for about 3 to 4 weeks. I think I received it about just under 4 weeks ago. I did have to buy a new desk before I could set it up properly and use. But we've been using it live on stream in all the races I've been doing on GT Sport and iRacing for about 3 weeks solid now, and I don't think I'd go back to a normal TV, a 60 frames per second TV, because this TV does go up to 144 frames per second. I've been using it at 120 through a HDMI lead, because the HDMI lead that I was using cannot support the 144. I think you need to buy a different lead that's not actually supplied with this monitor. So that's one of the slight downfalls I will say about this monitor. It doesn't actually come with the lead to show the 144 frames per second, but even at 120 frames per second on iRacing, the difference was massive, but we'll talk about that after. But for GT Sport, this monitor really does excel. It's not a full 4K monitor, it is actually a 2K monitor. However, on GT Sport it does actually recognize it as 4K on the console, which I'm not the most technical minded person. I'm just going to try and give you my view from a gamer, a sim racer. But yeah, it does recognize it as a 4K, so it's a higher resolution than 1080p. You can tell when playing on it, it looks so much smoother. Unfortunately for myself, when I'm streaming, obviously I can't stream at the higher frames per second. I'm sorry, the higher resolution due to the Elgato, etc. But in terms of when I'm not streaming, I've tried this out at the higher setting with the HDR on, and it looks absolutely amazing. It looks so much more, the colors look more vivid, they look more lifelike. Everything about it just looks so much better than before. And even at 1080p though, when I've been using it as streaming without the HDR activated, this monitor really does look good. It looks crystal clear, sharp as anything, really smooth on the images on the screen, and the input lag is so minimal. It's pretty much it's very much similar to the TV I was using before, because the TV I was using before I did actually buy because of input lag, 4 millisecond input lag, which this pretty much matches with this monitor. Very low input lag, which is ideal for sim racing. We all want, as a sim racer, you want the lowest amount of input lag as possible when racing, because you don't want any delay from the inputs you put on the screen to represent that on the screen in front of yourself. So yeah, input lag is pretty much perfect with this monitor, and I think you're going to be very happy if that's what you're looking for a monitor. And now this obviously works fine on console. One thing you will need to know is that there is no audio that comes across. There's no audio coming out of the TV, so you will need to get yourself a headset. Obviously, I run with a headset anyway when I'm playing, so no real difference for me. And when watching movies, I switch over to the other telly. But for gaming, you will need obviously a headset, and it's pretty there's no other way of getting around it unless you obviously got speakers that you can attach and stuff like that. But most gamers nowadays anyway will be using headsets of some form anyway, so I don't think that'll be a massive issue really. Now the screen size is 31.5 inch, however it does have a 1800R curvature. Now I don't exactly know how they measure that, but what I can tell you is that it is very immersive. It actually comes across being a little bit bigger than what it actually is. Because of the curvature, it does immerse you very much in the racing, and it really does feel nice when driving, even on GT Sport, iRacing. It really does its job very well indeed. as you can see on screen there now. You can see visually the curvature on the screen now. Does look quite drastic, that curvature, but I will tell you now, you really instantly get used to it when it's directly in front of you. You've got your steering wheel in front of you, and it really just becomes very natural. I did think that it might cause me a bit of might be a bit weird, but within about 20 minutes of driving it, there was no issue. It didn't even notice it so much. It just feels like you're on a bigger monitor. So I would probably not go back to a normal monitor. I'd always look for a curved monitor from now on after trying out this monitor. So back with the features of the monitor, obviously it is HDR10 content support. It does have the display HDR 400 certificate, so it does display all your games with all that amazing colors. It looks really good. I can't stress how much better it looks in HDR. All the colors look more lifelike, and this isn't just on sim racing games. I did try this out on other games. I did have a little go of Blackout within, obviously, Call of Duty Blackout, and that game again looks so, the sunset setting was unbelievable. The colors look so vivid, everything looked more lifelike, and I can't recommend it enough in terms of the HDR. It looked absolutely stunning. And one point I would point out is to make sure you try out their Brightness Intelligence Plus technology that is built into the monitor. Now, I didn't actually find this setting until about 4 or 5 days of using it. And when I did find that, the difference is quite noticeable. It looks so much better. You can see the difference between colours even more. So one thing, make sure you go into the settings of the TV monitor and put the BI Plus technology on. It really is worth using. That's one of my only negatives about the monitor is where the buttons are on the monitor. You'll see they're just underneath the monitor, and they're quite fidgety to get to. So that is one of the downfalls that I would say. I personally would have loved a little remote to come with this monitor, just so that you could do it all from a little remote, no hassle of messing around with the buttons, etc. But it's a little thing. It's just, I think it's just a case of getting used to it. I have pressed the wrong button numerous times, but I think it does actually show you where the buttons are on the screen. So you do actually see it at the bottom of the, underneath the screen. It does show you where they are, but it's just fidgety getting your hand underneath. So that's one point I will say. I would have liked them to have been a little bit more accessible, or a remote would have been perfect, to be honest, in my opinion. Obviously, I've never really used proper PC monitors before. I've always come from TVs with remotes, so it's probably my laziness but it's something that I think they should come with. And again, obviously, we spoke about it before. This monitor obviously comes with the 144 Hz refresh rate. So for your games on iRacing, Assetto Corsa, etc., they're going to look silky smooth. Now, I've tried it out on iRacing, and I cannot express how smooth this game looks with this higher refresh rate. Now, I've only really experienced iRacing, Assetto Corsa, GT Sport at 60 frames per second because I've been using a normal TV. What I can tell you is the difference between the higher refresh rate to 60 frames per second, so you run it at 120 frames per second or 144, it's like night and day. I can't explain to you how much smoother, even your inputs from the steering wheel feel smoother, everything feels more natural. So that is one area where I'm super happy that they've sent me this monitor, because for iRacing, everything feels so much better now. The visuals look clearer, it's smoother to play, your inputs feel more natural because you're getting that extra refresh rate every frame. You're getting double the frames pretty much to a normal monitor, and it really does make a difference in sim racing, I would say. Also, it comes with the AMD FreeSync 2 technology, USB Type-C compatible as well, so you can use that cable if you've got a device that supports it. It does have a VESA wall mount, so if you want to mount the monitor to the wall, it is possible. However, you have to get that kit. It doesn't come with it, which is a shame. You have to actually buy that yourself or buy it as an extra. So just to make sure you know that it doesn't come with it, you will need to buy that separately. Now, obviously, like we said, 2K monitor. Also, a very nice feature is the adjustability of the monitor. You can run it at quite a few different adjustable settings. So as you can see there on screen now with my super shaky hands, you do have an adjustable range of -5 to +20 degrees, which is really handy. I can tell you that now. I have actually played around with moving it at different angles depending on where I'm sitting, with the seat and stuff like that, and it is quite a nice feature. Also, you have a 60mm height adjustable, so you can move it up or down. And now this is really handy. I have to say, this is one of the really nice features, because when you've got a steering wheel, you want the monitor to sit at the correct height. so that when you're in your chair, obviously your sim rig or whatever you use, it feels really immersive. So that is a really nice feature that they have incorporated into this monitor that I'm really happy with, and I've got it pretty much exactly where I like it now. In terms of visuals for this monitor, I don't think there is much you can really complain about. It looks really nice. It looks sleek. I like the little stand that it comes on. You know, especially with the adjustable, you know, moving up and down. It really is a pretty much an ideal monitor for myself and my setup. So I can't complain about how it looks at all, especially with the curvature. I really do like that nice curvature on the monitor. It looks really sleek. So yeah, nothing I can complain about of how it looks. I don't think there's anything, or even the back of it looks really clean. Now there is one area on the back which I would really, you know, the only thing I probably would point out as being a little bit annoying is the connections, as I'll show you now. So as you can see there, to put the connections in for the HDMI and all the different leads that you can put in, it's quite awkward, especially if you're putting it through the hole that's supplied for the leads to go through. To try and get them in, it is quite frustrating, and especially for us, like for myself streaming, where I'm swapping the leads over quite a lot, it can get a little bit irritating. But to be honest, most people will not be doing that. Most people will leave their leads in, and it would not be a massive issue at all, because most people will be just doing that once and then that will be it. But yeah, for myself, it was just a little bit frustrating every now and then when I had to keep moving the leads out, and it would have been nice if they were maybe on the side, from a side angle somehow, or you know, just somewhere different incorporated. But the one thing about them being there is the rear does look really clean, and it doesn't look messy at all. But like I say, it's just a bit fidgety. Even with the adjustable degrees that you can alter the monitor on, it still is quite fidgety to get the leads in and out. So I have had a few minutes there, yeah, every now and then trying to get the lead in. It does cause a few swear words to come out every now and then, but like I say, most people will just be putting that one lead in and won't be altering it, so it won't be an issue for you if that's how you're running it. But like I say, this is a very small negative, and it's pretty much one of the only negatives that I can come up with for my use of this monitor over the last 3 to 4 weeks. So if that's the only thing that you can come up with a negative for something, I think, then, you know, this is a clear sign that this monitor is doing its job very well for a sim racer. And for me, I would definitely consider getting you know, in the future, if I ever got a triple screen setup or anything like that, I would 100% consider getting 2 more of these exact monitors, especially with how thin the outside of the monitor is. Just look how thin it is. It would pretty much be an ideal setup for a triple screen monitor. So yeah, if I ever buy another monitor, I would then get, you know, another 2 of these monitors for a triple screen setup, or even as another monitor for my Streamlabs chat to go on the side with, because it is pretty much everything that I've wanted it to be. It really good, even for editing. I've been using it for the editing of my videos and stuff, and it's served its purpose absolutely perfect. You know, the screen width, everything about it is ideal for the editing of my videos, so I can't fault it. iRacing is where I really did notice how much smoother this monitor is. So yeah, you're not going to see it on the recorded footage from the camera, because the camera doesn't support the higher refresh rate that, you know, I'm playing the games on and watching the games on. But on iRacing, it really has opened my eyes to why people have always said, you know, I've heard it said so many times, you know, once you've played a game at the higher refresh rate, you really will not go back. And I have to say it is quite true, because I could not play iRacing now on a normal TV at 60 frames per second after trying it out at the higher refresh rate of like 144, etc. It is like night and day. It is so much smoother. Your inputs feel so much more real. Everything feels so much better. It even makes your inputs on the steering wheel feel more precise. It's hard to say why, but because you're getting that extra frame in between, you know, everything you're seeing is like got an extra frame in. I know people say you can't actually see it, but you do see it feels smoother. So yeah, I 100% would not go back to a normal TV monitor. I'll always stick to this monitor now for all my PC sim racing, and hopefully it serves its purpose for a long time in the future, because I can't see, for me, 2K is enough. I don't need 4K resolution. I would rather have the norm. I'm quite happy playing at 1080p or whatever, just on the 2K or whatever, at the higher frames per second, so 144 frames per second, because for me, higher frame rate is more beneficial than visuals in terms of higher resolution. So obviously on PS4, hopefully in the future, PS5 will be running 120 frames per second with the HDR, and everything will look amazing on this monitor. So I cannot wait for the future of what PS5 brings, you know, to use this monitor on. It's perfect now for PS4 Pro and for my PC needs. I can't recommend this enough. There is a few niggly things, but like I say, a massive thank you to BenQ for supplying me with this. And again, a massive thank you to all my subscribers that have put me in a situation where I can actually receive, products like this to test out. And it's amazing for me because I was in a situation where I was really needing a monitor like this, and luckily for me, BenQ decided to get in touch with me and send me this monitor test out, and I am so thankful for it because I will be using this monitor from now until a very long time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this very quick video, just going through some of the features of the monitor and talking about how I've been using it and my experience with it. Hopefully it'll help you out if you decide to buy a monitor for the future. I would say, this is worth it 100%. And I will see you all soon for more GT Sport, more iRacing, and hopefully some Assetto Corsa soon in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.